Join me as I take on the challenge of catching carp using only my best tips and tricks. Let's see if I can hook one on the first try. Carp fishing. There's nothing quite like the thrill of reeling in one of these slippery creatures. Not only are they a blast to catch, but they're also incredibly delicious on the dinner plate. But let's be real. Carp fishing can be tough. And that's why I'm excited to share my top tips and tricks with you to help you catch more carp than you ever thought possible. One of the biggest challenges when it comes to carp fishing is choosing the right bait. It's easy to get overwhelmed with all the options out there, but trust me, some baits are total duds when it comes to carp. And then there's the issue of rig setup. Get it wrong, and you might as well be fishing for anything but carp. Another common problem is knowing where to fish. You can't just drop your line anywhere and expect to catch a carp. And finally, there's the matter of technique. Do you use a float, a bottom bait, or something else entirely? Getting any of these elements wrong, and you're in for a long day of nothing but nibbles and false hopes. When it comes to bait selection, I've found that the old classics still work like a charm. A juicy worm or a kernel of corn can be irresistible to a hungry carp. But I've also had great success with more unusual baits like canned corn or even bits of bread. The key is to experiment and see what works best for your particular fishing spot. As for rig setup, I prefer a simple bottom bait rig with a minimum of tackle. You want to present your bait in as natural a way as possible. This also makes it easier to detect bites, which can be super subtle when carp fishing. When it comes to choosing the perfect spot, look for areas with plenty of cover, like submerged trees or weed beds. Carp love to hang out in these areas, where they can feed and hide from predators. And finally, remember that carp are creatures of habit, so if you catch one in a particular spot, it's likely you'll catch more in the same area. Just be sure to adjust your technique accordingly. Carp can get wise to your tactics pretty quickly. So what's the one tip that has helped me catch carp easily time and time again? It's all about the finesse. You see, carp have incredibly sensitive scales, which means they can detect even the slightest bit of tension on the line. So, when you feel that tap, tap, tap of a carp biting, resist the temptation to set the hook right away. Instead, wait for a few seconds to let the fish fully take the bait, and then, and only then, set the hook. This will increase your hookup rate dramatically, and you'll be hauling in carp in no time. Using these tips and tricks, you'll be well on your way to catching more carp than you ever thought possible. Remember to experiment with different baits and rigs, and always be aware of your surroundings. Carp can be caught in the most unexpected places. And most importantly, don't get discouraged if you don't catch anything right away. Carp fishing takes patience and practice, but the rewards are well worth it. I'd love to hear about your own carp fishing experiences in the comments below. Have you got a favorite tip or trick for catching carp? Share it with us. And don't forget to check out my other fishing videos for more tips and tricks to help you catch the big ones.